And now the next chapter of robots taking over the world.
In our final touch, we present a robot that can tie your shoes. Engineers from the University of California, Davis unveiled the machine using just 2 motors and a $600 budget. The UC Davis robot ties shoelaces using the traditional Ian knot. The project was part of an engineering showcase where the robot was judged on success, rate, time of completion, and energy efficiency. I think I can do my own quicker than that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's our time for now. Thanks for watching. News 3 at 5 starts right now.
Right now at 5, the Baraboo River continues to rise, bringing everything in its path underwater. How the second round of flooding is forcing a man to leave his home.
Plus, several school districts in our area were closed. Are dealing with the closures.
And area businesses are still closed after last month's historic flooding. How business owners are working to move forward.
News 3 at 5.
Thanks for staying with News 3. The Baraboo River continues to rise, flooding hundreds of homes and businesses throughout Sauk County.
The most recent estimates show these heavy rains have caused over $5 million in damage. In Reedsburg, the river is expected to crest late this evening or early tomorrow, and that is where our Rose Schmidt joins us live to show us some of the hardest hit areas. Rose?
Well, people who live here on North Webb Avenue woke up to this, their entire street covered in water. It was not like this yesterday. Now, the most recent estimates show that about 207 homes in Sauk County have been flooded, forcing some people to now leave their homes.
Last week it came up just as bad as 2008.
It's something people in Reedsburg have experienced before.
It's probably the worst one we've seen, and we've been here since 1962.
But that doesn't make it any easier.
In 2008, I was able to save the house, probably because I acted so quickly.
David Kosak's home and entire neighborhood are surrounded by water, so extraordinary measures have to be taken.
We got a canoe and we have a couple of kayaks, and we just float over and we get in the front door.
In 2008, the damage to David's house didn't exceed 50% of the home's value, but this time he says he isn't so lucky.
We can't stay here anymore. The house will most likely be condemned.
It's a reality too many people in Sauk County are now facing after 2 relentless rounds of rain.
There's areas that weren't damaged in 2008 that are damaged now, and it's a tremendous amount of damage.
Sauk County Emergency Management Director Jeff Jelnick says there are homes so badly damaged that crews can't get to them.
I mean, it doesn't make a difference of the dollar amount. It's your house. You lose your house, and it's like that's where you go every day, and now it's gone. And what do you do? Where do you start?
And when you're thrown in the thick of it every day, it really starts to wear on you.
I get goosebumps when I start talking about it right now because it really bothers me. I really think about it, and I really feel sorry for them. And sorry doesn't seem to be enough.
Luckily, those in the floodplain are pretty used to it.
We got some place to go.
And what rises will eventually crest.
Who knows what'll happen tomorrow?
Emergency management says that people in this area have sandbagged and pretty much done everything that they can. So now they're just waiting for the river to crest, and then hopefully after that they can start to clean up.
Our Rose Schmidt in Reedsburg. Rose, thank you.
Thank you, Rose. There are many roads closed around the area due to flooding. In Reedsburg, West Main Street from Highway 23 to Preston is closed. Parts of North Webb Avenue and South Webb Street are closed, as well as Granite Avenue. In Sauk County, Highway 58 from Mauston to Laval is closed, and Highway 33 is also closed. There are also multiple roads closed in Adams County. Parts of County Highway G, 2nd Avenue in the town of Jackson, 13th Avenue in the town of Springville, Fur Lane, River Road, and West 15th Avenue are all closed. For a full list of road closures, go to our website, channel3000.com.
And several school districts in our viewing area have shut down due to this weather.
The Montello School District is pushing back its start date by nearly a week. Our Keely Arthur spoke with the district superintendent today and tells us what this means for students in Montello. Keely?
Well, 780 students plan to start class in Montello yesterday. Instead, the district announcing school will finally be in session next Monday. Now, all the school buildings are dry and safe. The real reason for the closure is transportation. The Montello district is expansive, with some students having an hour-long bus ride when the weather is cooperating. Because one of the main ways into campus is a bridge over the Montello River, which is now shut down, the superintendent said there really isn't a safe or easy way to get students to school right now.
We have 175 students on 4 bus routes who live south of the bridge that is closed, and the alternative routes are 50 miles or so to go around. So having to problem solve around what that looks like, it takes a little bit of time.
School and county officials believe the bridge will still be closed the day school starts next Monday, but they are planning to use smaller buses and supervised transfer routes to get kids to school safe and on time. And much like the weather, what districts are open or closing is always changing, so be sure to check out our website, channel3000.com, for the very latest.
Boy, what a mess all this is causing. It's just unbelievable. So
50 miles is a long way to go out of your way.
Unreal. Keely, thank you. Now, a lot of rain near our west side studios today. Still coming down. Let's check your first alert weather. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti in the Weather Center. Gary?
Well, Eric, finally some good news in the forecast. It now looks like we might see an extended period of dry weather beginning tomorrow and lasting for much of next week. Now, in the short term, we still have an alert day in the forecast for tonight. The showers will continue this evening, then gradually end overnight, but ongoing flooding will continue, especially in areas that have had recent flooding. Visible cloud track shows lots of clouds, and that held the temperatures down a bit today, especially once the rain started. So the thunderstorms that bring the heavier rain are farther to the south toward the Chicago area. And as we look at Doppler track, I'm not really seeing much in the way of lightning across Wisconsin, just some showers here. The thunderstorms are farther to the south toward the Chicago area and into parts of southeastern Iowa, but the showers will continue for a little while longer. Just over the last 48 hours, 3 to 7 inches of rain in a narrow band from around Prairie du Chien up into the southern portions of Juneau and Adams counties to just south of the Necedah and Adams and Friendship area. Much of the rest of southern Wisconsin, about 1 to 3 inches or more. Also a little area of 3 to 5 inch amounts south and west of Monroe. Low temperatures this morning started out at around 70. High temperatures made it to 78 before the rain started. Now we're seeing temperatures actually at our low for the day of 70 degrees, but the dew point temperatures still remain high, mid to upper 60s to around 70 degrees, and there'll be some areas of fog overnight. But by tomorrow morning, look for skies to start turning partly sunny. We'll see a dry day tomorrow with a high of 74, and that dry weather may continue through much of next week. I'll have details and weather in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Gary. Another round of estimates has been released for residential, private business, and public sector flood damage, with totals hitting above $154 million. Dane County Emergency Management submitted a formal estimate of damage caused by flooding from August 7th through September 3rd. Residential damage estimates include over 1,500 total residences with $78 million in damage, and citizens reporting only 2% of those damages insured. Business damage estimates include 107 total businesses reporting damages worth an estimated $37 million.
And while many communities are dealing with the high flood waters this week, others are still recovering and still can't get into their buildings from the floods from 2 weeks ago.
Our Jamie Perez joins us live along Deming Way in Middleton, where they were among the hardest hit during the first round of floods. Jamie?
Right, guys. Well, businesses all up and down this street here on Deming Way were some of the most hardest hit from the floods about 2 weeks ago. Now, while a lot of the businesses are slowly but surely getting back up on their feet, others still have quite a ways to go. We talked to businesses like Anu, and staff there say that it's still not safe to enter that building. They say they can't get to their basement, still can't recover a lot of the tools they need to run their business. So right now they're operating out of other temporary locations to serve their clients. And they say that even though their business isn't able to operate normally now out of their main location, they wanted to dispel some rumors that they're closing.
There's rumors that they're being condemned and things, you know, the building itself, that we're closing. We're definitely up and running. We're better than ever, and they wouldn't be working this hard at getting the restoration and everything of that lower level if we weren't going to be back in here soon.
Like many businesses, Anu is operating out of a different location, and we did speak to another business who is able to get into their building, but the amount of maintenance that they need has them wondering how long it's going to be until they can get back up and operating out of that location again. I'll have that story for you coming up tonight at 10.
All right, Jamie Perez live in Middleton. Jamie, thank you.
Water levels in parts of our area have been at historic levels the last few weeks.
So how do those levels compare with prior flooding? What do the levels mean, and how does this all stack up with what we've experienced in the years prior? Dave Caulfield joining us now. He has the very latest and kind of puts this into context for us. Dave.
Yeah, it could really be confusing, Eric and Susan, because when we talk about river levels, they're measured at the height above the riverbed, and lake levels are measured in height above sea level. Now, all of the Madison lakes have risen over 100-year flood levels, meaning the lake levels have reached a height seen on average once every 100 years. But only two, Monona and Wabisa, have seen record high lake levels, or the highest that they've ever been. Even so, flooding has been a major concern, as we all know, along the lakes for the past few weeks. Lake ecology experts say residents of the city are going to need to take actions to ease pressure on the lakes.
We're not being able to absorb that water. As a community, we need to act together, and what we need to do is we need to figure out ways to retain that stormwater on our property. So the old thought of just moving stormwater off your property as fast as you could, your downspout pointed to your driveway to run it into the storm sewers, we've got to change that.
Now, Soderson says keeping a well-maintained lawn and having a rain barrel or garden are examples of actions you could take to help with flooding problems and future lake ecology issues. Now, Soderson also says that Madison leaders need to look at future lake levels in general, specifically whether or not to bring down the level of Lake Monona. And this is really definitely going to be an issue that goes beyond when the last raindrops fall later tonight.
Truly historic flooding. All right, Dave, thank you very much. Madison police say the officer involved in a shooting over the weekend on Madison's east side has been with the department since 2002. Officials responded Saturday afternoon to a disturbance call on Upham and North Streets. The caller later reported being physically assaulted by the suspect. Police said the 35-year-old man ran off. When officers located and approached him, the man reportedly pulled out a knife and made threats. One of the officers then shot the suspect. Madison police have identified the officer as Christina Hill, with the department for 16 years. Hill was assigned to patrol in the MPD's North District, but is currently on administrative leave pending this investigation. The man was taken to the hospital with what is believed to be a non-life-threatening wound.
State Justice Department officials want the public's help as it seeks to find more possible victims of a Las Vegas man indicted on child pornography and extortion charges. Brad Schimmel says his department is working with federal officials after the arrest of 25-year-old David Omar Harris, who was charged 3 weeks ago after a Vilas County teenager came forward. Harris is accused of producing child porn, extortion, and stalking. He may have had up to 500 victims worldwide.
This case highlights why it is so important for parents to protect their kids, not just in the real world, in the physical world, but in the virtual world as well.
The case will be tried in Wisconsin's Western District Federal Court. If you are a victim or if you know of one, you're asked to call 224-9348.
And the Attorney General is also among several Republican attorneys general who filed a lawsuit last winter to have the Affordable Care Act thrown out on the grounds that it is unconstitutional. Now, that case got a hearing in a Fort Worth, Texas federal court today, the judge weighing whether the law should be thrown out while the case is being litigated. Schimmel's Democratic opponent Josh Kaul says it is a big waste of Wisconsin taxpayer dollars.
I think our taxpayer dollars should go to the problems that we're actually facing here in Wisconsin, like the opioid epidemic, our growing meth problem, and our prosecutor shortage. We shouldn't be using our tax dollars, as our current Attorney General is, to fight to take protections away from Wisconsinites with pre-existing conditions.
Again, call facing Schimmel in November, and U.S. District Judge Reed O'Connor is expected to render a decision in the coming weeks. Whatever it is likely to be appealed. There is more to come on News 3 at 5. Up next, the president reacting to Bob Woodward's upcoming book about the Trump administration.
And Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh is facing senators' questions on day 2 of his confirmation hearing.
And on Wall Street, the Dow up 22.5. The Nasdaq plummets almost 100 points today. The S&P gave back a little more than 8. We'll be right back. Welcome back. President Trump made his first on-camera comments about Bob Woodward's upcoming book about his administration.
In the book, Fear, Trump in the White House, Woodward writes that White House Chief of Staff John Kelly said of President Trump, he's an idiot. It's pointless to try to convince him of anything. He's gone off the rails. We're in crazy town. The Washington Post journalist also writes Defense Secretary James Mattis told close associates his commander-in-chief acted like he had the understanding of a 5th or 6th grader. Both Kelly and Mattis have denied making the statements.
General Mattis has come out very, very strongly. He was insulted by the remarks that were attributed to him.
President Trump is reacting by questioning the Watergate reporter's credibility, but in a recorded conversation between the two men after the book's completion, President Trump expressed admiration for Woodward.
President Trump's Supreme Court nominee back in the hot seat on the second day of his nomination hearing, this time fielding some tough questions from members of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senate lawmakers pressed 53-year-old conservative Brett Kavanaugh on executive power. Lawmakers on both sides each got 30 minutes to question Kavanaugh on issues like gun rights and abortion. He pledged to be independent of President Trump on the second day of his nomination hearing.
Tropical storm Gordon never reached hurricane strength, but it is now blamed for at least one death after making landfall near Alabama last night. The National Weather Service downgraded the storm to a tropical depression this morning. Flooding remains the biggest threat for millions of Americans as Gordon moves inland. Up to a foot of rain is expected in some areas, and that could produce flash flooding. Hurricane Florence is turning in the Atlantic on a path toward Bermuda, and there is another potential storm right behind Florence.
And I know Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti has been keeping an eye on Gordon to see how that rain might affect our pattern. But Gary, we're hoping to get some dry weather.
Yes, it looks like the remnants of Gordon will be moving to the south of southern Wisconsin. That would be the best case scenario for us because it would give us an extended period of dry weather. First of all, let's take a look at the alert day that we have in the forecast. First, let's take a look at the rainfall amounts that have fallen since mid-August. This is compiled by the National Weather Service as of about 2:30 this morning. So this doesn't really include much of the rain that's fallen today. Add about another quarter to a half inch of rain north of Madison, maybe as much as 1 to 2 inches of rain from Madison toward the south and east to what you see here. But you can see these rainfall amounts between 10 and almost 20 inches of rain. Now, we're talking between about a third and almost 2/3 of a year's worth of rain in a 3-week period. That is unprecedented amounts of rain that we've had here, but hopefully this extended area of rain with 5 to 10 inches of rain just over the last 5 days over about the western third of our viewing area, 1 to 3 inches elsewhere, and just over the last 24 hours, 3 to 5 inches to our north and west and about 1 to 3 inches elsewhere is starting to come to an end. As we look at Doppler track, you can see just showers, no lightning across southern Wisconsin, and north and west of Madison, the rain is diminished to drizzle or has ended altogether. Thunderstorms are farther to the south and east. That's where the heavier rain threat will be. The live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville, cloudy skies, just a little bit of light rain around there. The WISC Skycam still raining here. Of course, I've got the umbrella in the backyard. And the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing some rain in the downtown area. But as we look at the almanac for today, high temperature made it to 78 degrees before the shower started. The low temperature is actually the current temperature of 70. We dropped to 70 this morning. We're back at 70 now with light rain. Winds out of the north at 3 miles per hour. The dew point's still high, but drier air is on the way. Tropical depression Gordon now centered over the western portion of Mississippi. Maximum sustained winds at 30 miles per hour, but a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity around Gordon. Now, the forecast track takes it through Alabama or through Arkansas and away from Alabama and Mississippi, and then accelerates it to the northeast, passing into southern portions of lower Michigan by Monday. That might give us an increase in clouds on Sunday, but right now it looks like all of the rain will stay to our south. And if you look at the precipitation from the GFS computer model, this begins at tomorrow at 7 p.m., so that takes into account what will fall this evening, about 1/4 inch of rain. But you can clearly see where the moisture from Gordon is going, about 3 to 6 inches or more expected across parts of Illinois and Indiana. But look at southern Wisconsin. Our rainfall doesn't change, and the European computer model confirms this. Same thing. Heavy rains just to our south across Illinois and Indiana, but here in Madison, very little in the way of additional rainfall beyond what's already fallen tonight, and then all the way through the end of next week. So that would be great news. Tonight, showers will gradually come to an end. It'll be cooler with some areas of fog, low dropping to 55. Tomorrow, a partly sunny and pleasant day, and more importantly, dry, high at 74. Future track takes the showers out of here later on tonight. Some areas of fog forming, lows in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, skies turn partly sunny. High temperatures reach the middle 70s. Tomorrow night, it'll be clear and cool with low temperatures dropping to around 50. And for Friday, partly sunny. High temperatures again in the middle 70s. And if you take a look at the 7 to 10 day forecast, you don't see a drop of rain in there until the end of next week. Sunday, maybe a little more cloud cover. Looks like the showers will stay to our south. But the next chance of rain that I have in the forecast, a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm Friday of next week, and then some scattered shower and thunderstorm chances for the following weekend. But that gives us a long period of time to dry out. First alert traffic, well, with the rain falling, that's slowing traffic down. There's the belt line at Park Street. You can see very slow traffic in both directions. Eastbound, the delays start around John Nolan Drive and go back to Verona Road. Westbound, they start around Fish Hatchery Road and go all the way back to Stoughton Road. Right now, travel time is about a half hour in each direction between University Avenue and I-3990. If you're heading out of Madison, just shy of a half hour from the Beltline to Janesville on I-3990, 20 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 19 minutes to Sun Prairie on US 151 East Washington Avenue. That's your first alert traffic.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Still ahead at 5, a new study is showing men don't go to the doctor perhaps as much as they should. We'll tell you why when we come back. Welcome back. A new study finds most men don't go to the doctor when they should.
And it is their partners who try to keep them on track. Hillary Lane has more.
So out of the two of you, who goes to the doctor more?
Probably me.
Stephanie Ott says she's constantly nagging her husband Peter to go to the doctor, and he just won't listen.
I think it's just like a cool macho thing, like, oh, I'll get over it, you know, but it's just a flesh wound.
A new survey from the Cleveland Clinic shows 60% of men don't go to the doctor when they need to.
I'll say you should call the doctor and go in for a checkup and get everything.
And I'll say give it a week and it'll be fine.
The research also finds that women are diligent when it comes to their partner's health. 83% of women surveyed encourage their spouses or significant others to go to the doctor once a year.
The fact is, men think they are healthier than they are, and their female significant others recognize that that's not always the case.
Urologist Dr. Ryan Berglund says men should go to the doctor if they have symptoms that won't let up. He says men should also be getting regular health screenings, a colorectal exam beginning at age 50, and a prostate check starting at 15 years old.
Prostate cancer is a classic example of a disease that is very curable if caught early, and it's very difficult to treat by the time you develop symptoms from the disease.
Dr. Berglund says the key is to catch and treat issues at the start before they turn into larger problems down the road. Hillary Lane, CBS News, New York.
The study finds a quarter of both men and women surveyed first turn to the internet, not their doctors, when they have a health-related question.
That's a bad thing?
Yeah, that's not a good thing to do.
Another check of the weather when we return. Stay with us. Finally, at 5, a video released by a safari park in Russia showing the moment a lion got into a car with a tourist. Well, it's gone viral.
The footage shows the lion known as Philia climbing over tourists, cuddling and licking them. Luckily, the incident happened weeks after a woman was hurt by a different lion in the same park. The safari park is famous for offering its visitors more proximity to its lions.
That's a little too much.
Yeah,
proximity.
lions aren't generally recommended for petting zoos, but there you go. Be careful. Yeah, go to Crimea. Final check, Gary.
Well, we got some showers still out there, but they're starting to wind down, especially north and west of Madison. That is good news. Even better news, we have a dry forecast that starts tomorrow, and keep your fingers crossed. It would go all the way through at least Thursday of next week and maybe Friday before the next chance of showers and storms next weekend.
Look at that. That would be a gift.
Sure would. Thanks for joining us. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 at 6. CBS Evening News is next.